There he is. There he is.
Right side, right side.
Oh fuck, I flipped.
Right over,
All right. I just got 2 of them. I got 2 of them.
You got 3 of them? You got 3.
No way, I got 3.
Now you got
Oh, no, there's another one right here.
He's under us.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Get him, George. Get him, George.
Get out.
That was the funniest thing I've ever seen, I think.
I am Batman. I mean, Average Sniper.
Hey, what's up, guys? Average Sniper here, and welcome to another Playerunknown's Battlegrounds video. In this video, I would like to talk to you guys about some of the major problems we see in Playerunknown's Battlegrounds on Xbox One early release. Now, I know, as I just said, this game is early release, so I love this game, and we're not just going to sit here and complain about the things that are wrong, but we do need to talk about them. So, after you guys watch this video, I would like you to leave anything that I missed in the comment section so that it can definitely be addressed, and so that people can know about exactly what's going on and what needs to be fixed, and so the developers can also use this video as a reference. I don't know if they'll even watch my video, but every little bit helps. I'm just trying to make this game better for everyone. So let's go ahead and get started. The main thing, and this is all my opinion right now, some of it's pretty obvious, but most of it's my opinion, and I'm going to go in order of this little list that I made. The main thing is the game crashes. That's what I think the #1 problem is. We can deal with some of the other problems, but when the game crashes, say you've been looting and killing people for like 25 minutes, there's only like 5 minutes left in the game, because if you went first place, most of the time it's about half an hour average game. Who wants to spend 25 minutes working up to first place only to crash and have your guy run off into the gas or get killed because you can't control it? Right now, the only issue I would consider game breaking are these crashes. It's even hard to play squads with some of my friends because almost every single game, if we're playing a squad of 4, somebody is going to crash. If it's not me, it's going to be someone else. Now, it seems like people with Xbox One X and external SSDs on their Xbox Ones are less likely to crash. I myself use an Xbox One X, and I have the game installed to an external SSD, which is a solid-state drive that just makes the loading and everything run a little bit faster. But I still crash. So we know that some of the crashes are server-side and some of them are client-side. So I think this is the main problem that the developers need to address, because as I stated, this is a game-breaking issue. If anybody's going to quit playing this game, this is going to be the first reason why. Now, the second issue, I think, is the buildings loading in. I don't personally have this problem. I don't know if it's because I have an Xbox One X or because I have an SSD attached that I run the game off of, or maybe both of those factors combined help with that. But the fact is, when people land, they need to be able to loot fast. And everyone I talk to that runs one of the original Xbox Ones or an Xbox One S says that they have to wait for the buildings to load in before they can go and loot. Now that means everybody with an Xbox One X or an external SSD has an advantage, because they can literally start looting right away while people have to stand outside the buildings because they're afraid to walk in and get trapped in a staircase or in a coffee table that spawns in. That's just ridiculous in my opinion. I would also consider this game breaking, because this game is not the most fast-paced game in the world, but in the beginning, if you're landing in a populated area, if you cannot loot, then you cannot survive unless you hide or run. And nobody wants to do that. Everybody just wants to play the game. The game needs to be fair for everyone. So they need to fix the crashes, and they need to fix it so that by the time we jump out of the plane, all the buildings, all the loot, everything is already spawned in and loaded for everyone, regardless of what platform we are playing on. And I understand this game is optimized for the Xbox One X, but that doesn't mean that people using an Xbox One X should have a specific advantage over everyone else. And that's why I think the issue with buildings not loading in the beginning, and objects not loading in, and loot not spawning in right away for some players is game breaking. The third thing, now I wouldn't necessarily call this a game-breaking issue, but it's pretty up there, is the frame rate. Now, if we could just get this game to run at a consistent 30 frames per second, that would be okay. If we could get it even higher to 40 to 60 frames per second, that would be more like the other AAA games you see on the Xbox One. Now, this is not a AAA game, so I'm not expecting a 60 frames per second, but I also don't expect a 5 to 10 frames per second when I'm coming down off my parachute and during the beginning of the game while I'm just trying to loot and kill the initial bad guys that land close to me. I do not want to have to be dealing with 5 frames per second while I'm in a gunfight. Now, the frame rate is better if you have an Xbox One X, which I do, but it's also shit when you're running 10 to 15 frames per second. But I can only imagine how bad it is on the original Xbox One, probably running even less than that, more like 5 frames per second. I have seen some videos of people aiming in with the red dot and the frame rate drops to like 1 or 2 frames per second. I don't think that should be happening in this day and age with all this modern technology and equipment we have. This game doesn't seem like it should require this much processing power. So I think it's all about optimization, and I think the poor frame rate is something that they can address and fix over time. Is it game breaking right now? Maybe it's close to being game breaking, but I don't think it's going to actually make people quit the game because the frame rate does seem to speed up after the initial 20-30 people die off. Occasionally you will see frame rate drops in places like big cities or wide open fields where you can see a lot. That happens on PC as well, but they have done a pretty good job of optimizing it on PC, so I'm hoping they can do the same for Xbox. Now, the fourth thing would be the clunky aiming. Now, while I understand this game doesn't have aim assist, and I agree with that, I really like that the game doesn't have aim assist because it kind of takes away from the casual nature of console gaming. A lot of games on console basically just give free kills away to anyone, even if you're not good with a controller, because the aim assist does most of the aiming for you. This game does not have aim assist, so you actually have to be pretty decent at using a controller and being responsive with that and being accurate and precise in order to get kills in this game. While I agree with that, I do not agree with how clunky the aiming system is, and the aim acceleration makes it even harder to learn how to aim because you start moving your stick one way at the sensitivity you're used to, and if you hold it for too long or push it too far, it speeds up exponentially. Now, I understand aim acceleration is a thing, but I think it needs to be tweaked in this game to be less clunky. Also, just the aiming system in general, there's just something wrong with it. When I'm talking about the first-person aim, it's just something about no matter what sensitivity settings you like, high or low, it just feels kind of off to me, and that's why I say clunky aiming. I definitely think they need to do something about the aiming system, tweak it, make it more for console. It feels like they took the aiming system from PC and just kind of ported it straight over without changing a thing except making it work with a controller instead of a mouse. You know, aiming on a mouse is way different than aiming on a controller, and that's something that needs to be addressed and optimized. The looting system is the next thing I want to talk about. Looting system is very slow. Once you get used to it, you can go faster at it, but there are some things about it that need to be tweaked. I think they did a fairly good job incorporating the looting system onto Xbox. I was surprised at, I was just surprised by it. You know, I thought it would be worse than it is. So it's not perfect, but definitely not game-breaking. But here's the thing. The loot is too spread out, and it doesn't seem to be very organized, especially the bullets. Say you need 5.56. Everybody needs 5.56, am I right? Sometimes it's hard to find that. You go to loot a guy, and he has like 200 rounds of 5.56, but you have to pick it up in like 5 different groups. You have 100 at the top, and 5, in the middle, 30 at the bottom, and then another 40 or whatever. I lost my count there, but it's all spread out. Why can't the ammo just be at the very top in like increments of 30 or something so that it's easy to pick up? I understand they don't want to put it in increments of like 100 because you might not be able to pick it up because you don't have enough space. But if we could just get all the ammo at the very top and then maybe all the scopes right under the ammo, or actually, you know what? Medical supplies at the top, then ammo right below it, then guns, then optics, then anything else, like attachments. That seems reasonable to me. I don't want to scroll all the way to the bottom of this guy's loot because there's some 5.56 that got lost down there. You know what I mean? I think they should fix it and put the loot in some kind of order so that you can go about it faster and it's not so spread out, especially for the ammo and the health. It just seems to be spread all over the place. The next thing is the car problem. In solos, and even in squads, I see a lot of people driving around cars in the final circle. You never see this on PC because it's easy to shoot people out of cars with the mouse. But on console, I see a lot of people refusing to get out of their cars because they're not afraid to get shot out, because the aiming system is so clunky on Xbox. It's very difficult for your average casual player to shoot people out of cars. and they get run over. I don't know how to fix that, but they need to do something. Probably ties into making the aiming system better, so it's not as hard to shoot people out of cars on Xbox. And then this last little thing, I know there's a lot of other things, but these are my main things. And this last thing I want to mention is the lack of settings and the loud menu music. My God, when I'm waiting to squad up with people, that menu music is so annoying. For the love of God, give us an option to turn the menu music off or at least turn it down. Give us an option to tweak our audio settings. Give us an option to tweak the brightness and contrast and maybe shadows and stuff like that. There are parts of the map where it gets so dark and you literally just can't see a guy that's 10 meters in front of you because he's in front of a tree, in front of a shadow, or laying down. Give us some options to tweak with so we can find what works for us. Audio and video settings, please. We could probably use, some more options too that have to do with general gameplay, maybe remapping certain buttons, things like that. But that'll all come later. Right now, these are the main things. So we got the game crashing, the buildings loading in, the poor frame rate, the clunky aiming, the looting system needs to be a little better with things organized more, the car meta, and menu music and other settings. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave your comments and let me know what other things you think could make this game better. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Later.